Hello Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. The rarest souls are those who walk alone yet are followed by many. In a world that thrives on labels and loud personalities, the Sigma female exists as an enigma, silent, self-assured, and utterly magnetic. Studies show that humans are instinctively drawn to individuals who exhibit a mix of independence and mystery, qualities that Sigma females radiate effortlessly. She doesn't seek attention, but attention finds her. She isn't the loudest in the room, but somehow she's the one everyone remembers. Why? Because the Sigma female breaks every rule of conventional attraction. She's the puzzle people can't resist solving, the wildfire that sparks curiosity without burning for validation. And let's be honest, she's also the woman you'd hesitate to play poker with, because you know she's holding all the cards. Whether you've met one, admire one, or secretly wish to be one, the signs that people find a Sigma female irresistibly attractive aren't just obvious. They're undeniable. Number 1. They feel challenged, not intimidated. When people encounter a Sigma female, they don't feel intimidated. They feel challenged, and it's a feeling that's both electrifying and disorienting. She doesn't try to prove her worth or dominate conversations, yet her very presence demands attention. Her confidence is quiet but unshakable, and it forces others to look inward, questioning their own perspectives and choices. It's not about competition, it's about inspiration. People are drawn to her because she makes them want to do better, think smarter, and aim higher. It's as if being around her subtly calls out their insecurities, but not in a way that feels threatening. Instead, it's motivating, like they've been handed an unspoken invitation to grow. They admire her ability to navigate life without seeking approval, and they want to understand how she does it. What sets her apart is her refusal to engage in the usual social dynamics. She's not interested in outshining anyone or proving a point. This neutrality, combined with her undeniable competence, is what makes her so compelling. People don't know whether to step up their game or simply sit back and admire her from a distance. The Sigma female's challenge isn't deliberate. It's a byproduct of her authenticity. Her independence and self-assurance act as a mirror, reflecting people's untapped potential. It's why some can't help but feel an irresistible urge to rise to her level. She doesn't intimidate because she doesn't need to. She simply exists in a way that commands respect and pushes others to do the same. For those who cross paths with her, it's never a neutral experience. They leave feeling changed, sometimes without even knowing why. Number 2. They respect you without understanding why. There's something about a Sigma female that commands respect even when people can't put their finger on why. It's not her job title, her looks, or anything you can quantify. It's her essence. She moves through life with an air of independence and quiet strength that makes people pause. There's no need for her to demand respect. It's freely given. What makes it so intriguing is the mystery behind it. People feel a pull toward her, a natural inclination to regard her with admiration, even though she's not trying to impress anyone. She doesn't boast about her accomplishments or seek validation from others. In fact, her lack of need for external approval is what makes her so compelling. She's the opposite of loud confidence. Her strength is understated, subtle, and deeply rooted in who she is. This respect often catches people off guard. They find themselves drawn to her, treating her with a level of reverence they might not even extend to people they've known for years. It's as if her authenticity and self-assuredness act as an invisible force field, making it impossible not to take her seriously. Even those who don't fully understand her find it difficult to dismiss her presence. And it's not about fear or intimidation. There's no edge of superiority in how she carries herself. Instead, it's her ability to remain unshaken by external opinions, her refusal to conform to societal expectations, and her knack for staying true to herself that make her stand out. People respect her because she lives life on her terms, and that's a quality that's both rare and deeply admirable. It's almost as if she's cracked a code everyone else is still trying to decipher. Number 3. They ask questions they wouldn't ask anyone else. When people are around a Sigma female, they find themselves asking questions they wouldn't dare pose to anyone else. It's not just curiosity, it's trust, fascination, and a subtle need to unravel her layers. Her presence feels different, and that difference invites people to think deeper, to explore parts of themselves they didn't even realize needed exploring. This isn't because she forces it. She doesn't prod or pry. She simply listens in a way that most people don't. Her attention is undivided and her responses are thoughtful, often cutting straight to the heart of the matter. It's as if she sees through the noise of someone's words and focuses on the truth beneath. That kind of clarity is rare and people can't help but be drawn to it. The questions they ask her often go beyond the surface. They're not small talk or casual curiosities. They're vulnerable, raw, and sometimes unpolished. Things like, do you ever feel like you don't fit in anywhere? Or, what drives you to keep going when everything feels off? They ask these things because they sense she's not going to judge or give generic answers. Instead, she'll offer insight that's real, even if it's uncomfortable. What's fascinating is that people rarely realize why they feel compelled to open up this way. Maybe it's her calm demeanor, her lack of pretense, or the fact that she's genuinely unbothered by what others think of her. Whatever it is, it creates a space where questions they wouldn't even ask themselves suddenly feel safe to voice. And when she answers, it's like unlocking a door to a perspective they didn't know they needed. That's her power, making people feel seen, heard, and understood without ever trying to be the center of attention. Number 4. They can't stop staring. When a Sigma female enters a room, people find it almost impossible to look away. It's not something she does intentionally. She's not trying to be the center of attention, but there's a magnetism about her that makes her impossible to ignore. She has this effortless way of carrying herself, a mix of quiet confidence and mystery that keeps people's eyes locked on her. It's not just her appearance, though that might catch someone's attention at first. It's the way she moves, the way she listens, and the way she seems perfectly comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't perform or seek approval, and that alone sets her apart. In a world full of people clamoring for attention, her lack of need for it makes her stand out even more. What's fascinating is how people often don't realize they're staring. It's like they're subconsciously drawn to her, trying to figure out what makes her so compelling. Is it her calm demeanor? The way she seems to be completely at ease with herself? Or is it the sense that there's so much more to her than what meets the eye? Whatever it is, people can't help but linger, their curiosity piqued by someone who seems to hold secrets they'll never fully uncover. Even in group settings, people's focus tends to drift toward her. It's not because she dominates the conversation, she often doesn't, but because her presence has a gravitational pull. She doesn't just take up space, she owns it in a way that feels natural, not forced. And when people realize they've been caught staring, they usually look away quickly, embarrassed but intrigued, knowing they've just witnessed something or someone they can't easily explain. That's the kind of impact she has. Subtle, powerful, and completely unforgettable. Number 5. They bring you their problems. People instinctively bring their problems to a Sigma female, even when they barely know her. It's not because she asks for it, she doesn't, but because there's something about her presence that feels grounding. She exudes a calmness that makes others feel like their chaos won't overwhelm her, no matter how messy it is. It's not that she has all the answers, though her advice is often shockingly insightful. It's more about how she listens. She doesn't jump to conclusions or offer surface-level solutions. Instead, she takes her time, giving people the space to speak freely and figure out their own thoughts. That kind of attention is rare, and it makes people feel heard in a way they might not have experienced before. What makes this dynamic even more interesting is that she never tries to play the hero. She doesn't need to fix everything for everyone, nor does she offer pity. Instead, she offers perspective, a kind of clarity that cuts through the noise. She sees angles others might miss, and her ability to articulate what really matters leaves people feeling both understood and challenged. People also trust her because she doesn't gossip or weaponize their vulnerability. They know that what they share with her will stay with her. It's not about her keeping their secrets, it's about her respecting their dignity. This level of discretion makes her the person others run to when they don't know where else to go. The irony is, she doesn't seek out these conversations. People gravitate toward her because she feels like a safe harbor in the middle of their storm. And when they leave, They're not just comforted, they're stronger, clearer, and oddly grateful for the calm wisdom she shared without ever making it about herself. Number 6. They can't predict your next move. People can't predict a Sigma female's next move, and that's part of what makes her so fascinating. She doesn't follow a script or conform to anyone's expectations. Just when someone thinks they've figured her out, she does something completely unexpected, not for the sake of shock value, but because she's simply living life on her terms. Her unpredictability isn't chaotic, it's intentional. She operates from a place of deep self-awareness and doesn't feel the need to explain herself. This keeps people guessing. They never know if she's about to take on a bold new challenge, walk away from something everyone else clings to, or completely reinvent herself. It's not that she's trying to be mysterious, it's just who she is. She values her freedom, and she's not afraid to pivot when something no longer aligns with her goals or values. This ability to surprise people creates an almost magnetic intrigue. People want to understand her, but they quickly realize they can't pin her down. One moment, she might be fiercely independent, and the next, deeply engaged in something collaborative. She shifts gears effortlessly, guided by her intuition and a quiet confidence that makes even the boldest decisions look easy. For some, this unpredictability can be unsettling, but for most, it's exhilarating. They're drawn to her because she's not like anyone else. She's not interested in trends or fitting into boxes, and that refusal to conform makes her incredibly attractive. It's not just her actions that are unpredictable, it's her mindset. She sees opportunities where others see obstacles and takes paths others don't even notice. Being around her feels like standing at the edge of something unknown, thrilling, a little unnerving, and completely unforgettable. She's the kind of person who keeps life interesting, simply by being true to herself. Number 7. They mimic your vibe. People unconsciously mimic the vibe of a Sigma female, and it's not something they can control. It happens because her presence is so steady, so balanced, that it sets the tone for the entire room. She doesn't demand attention or force her personality onto others, but somehow people find themselves adapting to match her energy. If she's calm, others start to speak softer. If she's focused, the conversation takes on a sharper edge. It's as if her internal rhythm becomes the unspoken standard for everyone around her. People aren't trying to imitate her consciously, they just feel drawn to her aura and naturally begin to reflect it. Her confidence is contagious, but it's not the loud, showy kind. It's the quiet kind that makes others feel like they can be better versions of themselves just by being near her. What's fascinating is how subtle this mimicry is. Someone might find themselves sitting a little straighter, choosing their words more carefully, or even rethinking a decision because of the energy she brings. It's not that she's trying to influence anyone, she's not. But her authenticity has a way of rubbing off on people, and it leaves them wanting to align with her sense of purpose and self-assurance. This mirroring often surprises people. They might leave an interaction with her and realize they felt unusually composed or thoughtful, almost as if her vibe stayed with them. That's her power. She doesn't just live authentically, she inspires others to do the same without saying a word about it. It's not manipulation, it's influence, and it's as effortless as it is profound. People don't just mimic her vibe because it's appealing. They do it because it feels right, like they've tapped into something real and steady they didn't know they needed. Number 8. They get nervous around you. People often get nervous around a Sigma female, and it's not because she tries to make them feel that way. It's because her energy is so self-assured and composed that it highlights the insecurities in others. She walks into a room with quiet confidence, completely comfortable in her own skin, and it catches people off guard. They start overthinking, suddenly aware of themselves in ways they weren't before. It's not intimidation, though, it's the opposite. They're not scared of her, they're in awe of her. Her calm presence is almost unnerving because it's so rare. Most people are used to others projecting their insecurities, fishing for validation, or trying too hard to impress. A Sigma female does none of that. She's just there, unapologetically herself, and it's a dynamic people don't quite know how to handle. This nervousness often shows up in small, almost endearing ways. People might stumble over their words, laugh a little too hard at something she says, or fidget in her presence. It's like their brain is working overtime to figure her out, and the effort makes them jittery. She doesn't need to say much to command attention, which only adds to the tension. What's intriguing is that she never exploits this reaction. She doesn't thrive on making people uneasy. She's just naturally that way. Her authenticity and self-possession are like a mirror, reflecting back to others what they might be lacking. That's where the nervousness comes from. It's not her, it's them. They sense her strength, her independence, and her refusal to play by anyone else's rules, and it shakes something in them. By the time they leave her presence, they might feel a little off balance, but also strangely inspired. That's her effect, unintentionally rattling people while quietly pushing them to step into their own power. Number 9. They assume you're always in control. People assume a Sigma female is always in control, and in many ways they're right. There's a calmness and assurance about her that makes others believe she has everything figured out, even when she might not. She doesn't wear her emotions on her sleeve, and her decisiveness makes her seem unshakable, even in the most uncertain of situations. The way she handles challenges, from personal to professional, suggests a level of mastery that others simply can't ignore. What's fascinating is that this assumption isn't about perfection. It's about how she presents herself. She doesn't need to explain her every move or prove that she's got it all together. She just is, and that quiet presence is often mistaken for total control. People around her feel like she's always several steps ahead, that she knows the outcome of every situation before it even happens. The truth is, a Sigma female doesn't need to be in control of everything. She simply knows how to remain centered no matter what's happening around her. She's not the type to panic or lose her composure in a crisis. She trusts her own instincts and doesn't let fear dictate her actions. This steadiness creates an aura of control that others naturally pick up on. They assume she's always got it handled, and that assumption becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This perceived control also makes her a natural leader, though she doesn't often seek that role. People gravitate toward her because they feel safe, knowing she can be counted on. Her presence alone reassures them that things will be okay, even if the road ahead is unclear. And even when she's unsure herself, her ability to stay grounded makes others believe in her strength and resilience, further reinforcing the idea that she's always in control. Number 10. They feel seen without feeling exposed. A Sigma female has this rare ability to make people feel seen without making them feel exposed. She creates a space where others can be themselves, flaws and all, but without ever pushing them to share more than they're comfortable with. It's a kind of unspoken understanding that allows people to be open without feeling vulnerable. There's no judgment in her gaze, no expectation for you to reveal more than you want to. She listens, but doesn't pry, and that's what makes her presence so disarming. People find themselves speaking more honestly around her simply because she doesn't pressure them to do so. She doesn't rush into deep conversations or try to push past your defenses. Instead, she respects boundaries while quietly encouraging authenticity. That delicate balance between seeing through the surface and honoring the person underneath is what makes her so magnetic. She doesn't need to probe to understand. She just knows how to connect on a deeper level. This ability to make others feel seen without exposing them is what draws people in. It's rare to find someone who can offer such a secure space. Someone who makes you feel like you don't have to wear a mask, but also doesn't make you feel like you have to bare your soul. There's a respect for privacy in the way she engages with others, and people appreciate that. They feel heard, validated, and respected without having to lay bare every part of themselves. For a Sigma female, it's not about getting others to reveal everything. It's about creating a dynamic where vulnerability is something people offer on their own terms. And that's what makes her not just attractive, but rare. She leaves people feeling understood, but never exposed, giving them the freedom to express themselves without fear of judgment. In a world that often values noise over substance, the Sigma female stands as a testament to quiet power and authenticity. Her ability to draw people in without uttering a word, to challenge without intimidating, and to lead without ever seeking control is nothing short of extraordinary. It's not that she tries to be magnetic or captivating, she simply is. Her presence alone shifts the energy of those around her, inspiring others to be their best selves while simultaneously allowing them the space to grow without pressure. The signs that people find her highly attractive are clear, but they're not based on superficial charm or calculated moves. They're rooted in something deeper, her raw, unapologetic authenticity and the steady confidence that emanates from within. She doesn't need validation, and that's exactly why people feel compelled to give it to her. She becomes a mirror for others, reflecting their potential, challenging them to rise to the occasion, and offering a safe space for vulnerability. In a world that often prizes conformity, the Sigma female is a breath of fresh air, showing us that true allure doesn't lie in fitting in or seeking approval. It lies in being so entirely yourself that the world can't help but take notice. And for those who are fortunate enough to encounter her, the effect is unforgettable, transformative even, because she doesn't just change how they see her, she changes how they see themselves. If you found yourself captivated by the power of the Sigma female, don't let this moment pass without hitting that subscribe button. You won't want to miss more insights into the extraordinary qualities that make these women so unique and inspiring. By subscribing, you'll stay connected to a community that celebrates authenticity, strength, and the kind of deep understanding that changes the way we see the world and ourselves. So go ahead and join us for more. You won't regret it.